are you here to debate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's your name, age, and pronouns, please?
My name is LA, like the city. I'm 30 years old, and I'm a male.
Okay. What are your pronouns, though?
I mean, I think by ascribing to having to say my pronouns, or by giving you my pronouns, I'll be ascribing to a worldview I don't subscribe to.
So you don't subscribe to pronouns?
No, I think asking someone to give you their pronouns is a particular worldview that I don't subscribe to.
Okay.
Like,
What's the worldview? What's the worldview?
Pardon me?
What's the worldview?
What is a worldview? My worldview, right?
No, you said that by giving pronouns, you would be subscribing to a worldview that you don't subscribe to. So what is that worldview?
Yeah, that like gender and sex are like different things, I guess. Or
okay, you believe
like
gender and sex
male,
to be the same?
Yeah, like if I'm a male, if I'm a human male, then
okay,
you would obviously refer to me as a he or a him.
Wait, I just want to know. I just want to know if you believe gender and sex are the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so do me a favor. I just want to know. I don't know if you can see the screen, but I just want to know if this is a cute woman that I have on the screen right now. I want to know if she's a cute woman.
I can't see the screen.
Okay, let me describe her to you. Okay, I'm gonna describe her to you. She has a cute black wet button nose. She has a pink bow in her hair. She has fluffy upright ears. She has pristine fur. Is she a cute woman?
I mean, it sounds like you're describing a dog, so I wanted to say that's a woman.
Well, it's a female dog. Sex and gender are the same thing, so it's a female dog, so that means it would be a woman, right?
Yeah, but we're humans, though. So for humans, sex and gender are the same thing.
Okay, wait. So sex and gender as two concepts are... Wait. So hold on.
I
don't care that it's not what you want to debate. You took a line in the sand. You better defend your line in the sand. You took that line in the sand. Don't back away from it now.
For the sake of your cast, you can call me a he or a him. I would like you to refer to me as my sex, which is a male. So you can call me he or him.
Oh, okay. So you do have pronouns that people use in when referring to you. We're talking about
pronouns. I don't have personal pronouns.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Do I own? Wait, I'm sorry. Do I own my name? No, I don't own. I don't have ownership of a name, but I have a name still, right? Okay, so when I say you have pronouns, it would be like I'm saying you have a name, right? This is something that people refer to you as.
Understood you. I understand your position for this. What do you say?
See how that works? Beautiful, great.
I'm gonna say it's beautiful. I think your worldview is quite ugly, but anyway.
Well, you're unwilling to defend yours, so I don't know how you can call mine ugly when you're unwilling to defend yours. So.
No, I defended mine.
No, you didn't, because the second I pushed any pushback on yours, you backed off and said, "Well, I don't want to do this." That's not defending yours. Imagine you're like, "Yeah, I defended my home when that person tried to break in by opening the window." No, you didn't.
Well,
you backed off immediately.
You misrepresented the. You misrepresented the.
I did not. I did not. Your claim was that gender and sex are the same thing.
Okay.
That was your claim.
Right, and then I defended briefly, saying that sex and gender are the same thing. But I didn't want to go back into.
There was no defense. There was no defense. You conceded.
To your position.
You conceded that gender and sex are not conceptually the same thing. You conceded to this because you said that dog being a female doesn't make it a woman, which inherently concedes that sex and gender are two different concepts. So great.
Wonderful. I understand your position. So let's move on then. I know the discussion earlier was about genocide. Wouldn't you say that abortion is a genocide?
Nope. Give me a functioning definition of the term genocide. Well, you're the one claiming it is. Well, you're the one claiming it is. I'm not claiming it is.
I just asked a question.
Oh, then I'm not going to define it because I'm not making a claim that it is.
So you can't define genocide?
I can, but I'm not making the claim that it is a genocide.
Right, but if I'm asking to understand why it's not a genocide from your position,
so you want me to reaffirm you in the negative. I need to reaffirm the negative position is what you're asking me to do.
Okay, sure.
Sure.
I'll look it up.
Sure. Genocide is the deliberate killing of a large group of people from specific ethnic or national backgrounds in order to call those ethnic or national backgrounds from society.
Cool. So if I hated children and started killing all children, would that be a genocide?
Is children an ethnic background?
Okay, cool. That gives me clarity. So in that sense, no, it would not be a genocide if we're limited it to just an ethnic background. But if, let's say, if I just started killing all black children for a large group of black children, would that be a genocide?
If you specifically targeted black children amongst all other children, yes, this would be a genocide.
Okay, cool. I wasn't limiting it just I wasn't understanding it just in terms of race, so I'm glad that you clarified your position. So would abortion be a mass murdering then, or how would
no? Because I don't believe that fetuses have a right to life, so therefore I don't believe it would be a mass murdering because they don't have a right to life.
So murder. So you're saying that murder is only murder if someone has the right to life?
Correct. If you do not have a right to live, then you're not violating a right by killing you. Therefore, it's not murder. This is why self-defense is not classified as murder, because when you go to kill somebody first, you give up your right to life. This is why pulling the plug on a brain-dead person is not considered murder, because the brain-dead person is classified as not having that right anymore. Yes.
Beautiful. I disagree a little bit on the brain-dead person, but...
I'm sorry, is it illegal to pull the plug on a brain-dead person?
No, I don't think it's not murder simply because they don't have the right to life. I think it's it's allowing someone to die. But if we can put that on hold real quick, because I don't want to get track off the other point. We can get back to that. Why don't fetuses have the right to life? Because
rights are specific for sentient creatures. Non-sentient creatures don't have rights. They're not moral agents. They're not moral actors. They have no moral right to anything because they're not anything.
Gotcha. By what authority do we say that only sentient beings have the right to live?
It's how we've structured basically all of society. And by what authority? What are you asking? By what authority do we have any right to make any sort of moral claim?
Wait, I have an authority. And then, so I'm asking yours before I.
Based on I'm sorry. What authority do you have?
Why does it matter what mine is for you to say what yours is?
Well, because I'm challenging the assertion that any human has an authority for anything. That's why. So you're now making the claim that you do have an authority. So now I'm challenging that assertion.
Well, so you just dodged my question to challenge my assertion.
No, obviously, if I'm saying humans don't have some innate authority to something, I'm making the claim that I don't either. Duh, because I'm saying that there's no universally given authority on humans to do any. Morality is is a subjective thing. So there's no God given authority to anything. We can talk about authority in the legal sense, right? Governments are granted a level of legal authority, but when we're talking morally, there is no moral authority. So I'm challenging your assertion here.
Gotcha. You made an absolute claim that people who aren't sentient don't have a right to life.
Correct.
And I'm asking what makes that claim absolute.
Well, the claim would be a subjective claim that we can argue about whether it's true or not based on logical reasoning. But I would say if we're just looking at the laws of logic and how logic sort of dictates the way the world works, then that would be the claim.
So you just believe that people who aren't sentient don't have the right to live. So if I then say
it's a belief that I can back up through logical reasoning. Yeah.
If I can finish my statement real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
So if I say that sentience doesn't determine one's right to life, I'm not necessarily wrong. You just don't agree with my.
Well, now what we would determine how we would determine who is right and wrong now is we would have a debate. We would present our points and see which point holds up to logical scrutiny the most. If your claim fails under logical scrutiny, whereas my claim doesn't, well then one of those would be right or wrong.
Cool, perfect. So I guess if we'll take the logic of sentience, or maybe not phrasing that rightly, but if I take you use the example of someone in a coma, they are not sentient.
No, I said brain dead. Coma patients would still have sentience. Brain dead patients don't.
Yeah, excuse me, you're correct. So if someone does not have any brain activity, they're no longer sentient. If I go up and
brain
I
dead
shoot
people
them,
have brain activity.
is that murder?
No. 1, brain dead people have
You
brain
said no?
activity. 2, no, that wouldn't be murder.
Okay, yeah. So if I might be wrong on that. So they're not sentient, but we're agreed on that.
Correct.
So I should be allowed to go and shoot them.
It would not be murder if you did. We can have conversations about why you should or should not based on some level of you could be harming somebody and you like whose family may not want to see them get shot. That may be the case that like we're preserving the body because of some societal reason, but it would not be murder if you did shoot. Now we can say you might be morally wrong for a litany of other reasons, but you would not be morally wrong. There would be no moral negative to shooting them in the face that happens to them. There's no murder here.
But they're a living person, though, right?
Their body is alive, yes.
I don't understand how that's not murder.
Define
if
murder.
I kill a living person, right, taking one's life with malice of forethought.
Okay, so
An innocent person.
So
like someone who has done
let's
nothing.
right. Let's walk down this rabbit hole right here. If you kill, because you're now saying, well, it's murder because I'm taking an innocent life, right? Because there's malice. What if I have no malice when I shoot them? What if there's no malice here? Now it's not murder.
I mean,
any killing now, as long as there's no malice, no murder.
Okay, 2 points there. I don't see how you could shoot someone without malice unless it was by accident. But secondly, even if I don't use the word malicious, let's just say I am taking someone's life with intent to do so. I planned to do so.
If I meet somebody in a dark alley and that person has a gun on me and I have a gun in my pocket and they're like, hey, I'm going to shoot you. So I shoot them first. I planned to shoot them. I made a plan. That plan was to reach into my pocket, grab my gun and shoot them. Am I now a murderer? It was what I did morally wrong.
Like you said before, and like I've also said, I said an innocent person. You said that self-defense is not murder because the moment someone threatens to take my life with intent, then they've lost that right to their
right. So then it's not again. It's not about. So it isn't about the malice. It's just about, do you have intent to kill somebody? And if you kill somebody with the intent to kill them, and you believe that they're innocent, then that would be murder. Do I have your position correct?
Yeah, if a person is actually innocent, beyond just what I think or believe or I say, someone would actually have to be innocent, have done no wrong, and I intended to kill them.
So you believe every time we pull the plug on a brain dead person, the doctor that pulls the plug is a murderer? Because they did an action that directly led to the death of that person's body.
No, they did not initiate the death of that person. They allowed it to proceed.
If they had not pulled the plug, would that person be dead?
Mm-hmm. Again, they did not initiate the death. The pulling the plug is involved.
Okay, so they didn't initiate
the
death
because. Wait. Can I respond? You
sure. Go ahead and respond. Go ahead and respond. Let's hear it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So life support is an artificial agent that is added to a person to pause or delay a death that has already begun. So by pulling the plug, then you're allowing that natural process to continue. You're not initiating the death.
Okay. So as long as we allow the natural process, because this creature can no longer maintain homeostasis. So as long as you allow that creature to just die because they cannot engage in a level of homeostasis to keep themselves alive, then you haven't actually killed them.
Yeah, I would say that for the doctor, again, has not initiated the death. Initiating the death is what would be considered murder.
Great. So if I to
initiate the death.
Great. So if it were the case that I had a magical drug that just cuts off a fetus's supply of nutrients from the mother, all it does is remove this level of life support because the fetus cannot maintain homeostasis. I can even take the fetus out unharmed, put it on a table, and let it die on its own. Then nobody has committed a murder.
No, that's initiating the death.
How is that any different from what I just described? Show me the symmetry.
Yeah, because well, I was about to, but then you interrupt. I don't know if you're a little antsy or not, maybe, but.
Oh God, that must be so hard for you.
Can I go ahead? No, I mean,
I literally asked you,
me as I was
and instead of answering, you had to do some nonsense about being interrupted. You could just answer.
Well, I can't answer for interrupting, so I'm
You
asking,
literally
can I
can
go
answer
now?
right now. Nobody's stopping you.
Well, you did before, so I was clarifying.
Nope.
But thank you.
Sure
Anyway,
didn't.
so yeah, a fetus is not attached to an or has not attached to an artificial agent, nor has an artificial agent has been added to that fetus. The fetus is in its natural nurturing environment. Removing that fetus from its natural nurturing environment is initiating its death. And if you
Right. So
intended to do
emotional
so
appeals are
for
hilarious.
its death, then yeah.
Yeah, emotional appeals are hilarious.
Wait, there was no
using the word
emotional appeal,
nurturing as you did in that framework is absolutely an appeal to emotion. 100%, 1000%. It being nurturing has no basis. No, you can't. It being nurturing has no basis on the conversation. The conversation is trying to find the symmetry break here. You are claiming that when it comes to the fetus, because their life support is some sort of organic life support, removing them from that life support would be initiating some sort of death. Whereas because the non-fetus, the brain dead person, is on an artificial life support, removing them from that artificial life support would not be initiating a death. I think this is just nonsense, and it's very clear that when you look at like the framework here, it doesn't hold up under scrutiny, right? You're saying the reason why, like, I know it's biological. My question to you was, why does it being biological make it now killing? And your answer was because it's biological, right? You're not providing a symmetry break here. You're just restating the question. What's the symmetry break? Why does it being biological matter? It's still on a level of life support. It cannot maintain its own homeostasis. It doesn't die just from cutting the cord with the mother. It dies because of its lack of ability to circulate blood, to maintain oxygen, to regulate its own internal temperature. How is this any different? What's the symmetry break?
Yeah, so nurturing was on an emotional appeal because I use nurturing in the sense that the womb is allowing the baby to grow. It is nurturing the baby. It is giving it sustenance. It's going through the stages of development. It's not something that was added to the baby to pause or delay its decay or its death the way that life support is. So that is why I use nurturing.
I don't think you understand how life support works.
Wait.
And that's obvious from the way you just phrased that question. If I have somebody who becomes brain dead, I won't.
Wait,
I won't.
I wasn't done though. You interjected.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna finish. It's fine that I interjected because you don't understand how life support works. So therefore, everything else that you're about to say doesn't actually matter. Because if I have somebody who's brain dead who becomes brain dead at, like, I don't know, let's say the age of 3, and I leave them on life support, and that life support is providing them nutrients, they're still going to grow and go through the stages of development. They're still going to grow. Their body is still going to even go through fucking puberty, right? Like, all of this stuff is still going to happen to them, even though they're on life support, right? So the way you just described that, you said, well, nurturing means X. X still applies to the artificial life support. Therefore, your argument is literally null and void here.
Okay. Okay. Let me ask this clarifying question. Is the womb added to the baby?
Yes.
So the baby doesn't. The
baby exists separate of the womb. Yes, it exists separate of the womb. Therefore, the womb is an additive. No,
the baby is born into the womb.
It's still an additive to the baby. It's still something completely separate. No, that is. You can make the argument that the baby forms inside the womb. So if you want to say is the baby an additive because the baby goes there, sure. But the womb is a separate entity that exists separate of the baby. If you want to say yeah, it's an additive because the baby comes second, sure. The baby is the additive to the womb, sure. None of this defeats the fact that the womb is still a separate entity from that baby. The womb is not natural to the baby's body.
I got you. My argument was not that. I'm not arguing that they're not separate entities. The womb is not identical with the baby. What I'm saying, though, is that you have a human being who has begun to die, so then you have an agent that is added to that baby or to that person to prevent it from death. Okay? Thus, then removing the life support is not initiating the death of the person. It is only delaying or pausing it. Once that artificial agent has proven to be ineffective and is now arbitrary to delaying that death, it is removed and that natural process is allowed to continue. It is different because a baby, its genesis, the womb is the baby's genesis. The baby begins in the womb. It is nursed and is being nurtured by the womb, and removing it from then that environment is initiating its death.
Yes. So the reason why it's different that you're claiming, because again, half of what you just said is just reiterating that this is a biological function. Fine. It being a biological function was fundamental to my question. Now you're saying the reason why it would be initiating is because the fetus starts in the womb. So because the fetus starts in the womb, removing it from this level of life support would be you killing it. Do I have your stance?
I'm saying it's initiating the death because the baby was not dying prior to the womb. It's a category error because life support is added to a human being.
This is also a functional misunderstanding of life support.
I didn't understand what you're saying because I was speaking.
I'm saying you have a fundamental misunderstanding of how life support works.
Okay, let me clarify. Maybe if, at the bare minimum, let me know if I have this right. You have someone who something happens to a human being that they are now beginning to die. Something has happened traumatic to them. Then life support is added to keep them from dying. Right? Is that a bare?
You can have somebody. You can have somebody who's completely. You can have somebody who is completely alive, who has not begun the process of death yet, who goes on to life support to keep certain functions of their body operating. They're not dying, right? Then their brain dies and their body is still functioning.
So you're if you have a person and part of their body, something is now malfunctioning, that without that function they would die, correct?
Yeah, you just described a fetus.
Is that what you're saying?
You just described a
fetus. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and you also just adequately described a fetus's lack of ability to maintain homeostasis. It's about the ability to maintain homeostasis. Somebody who's brain dead does not have the brain function to do this, just like a fetus.
Right.
A fetus cannot maintain homeostasis. You could argue a fetus is always in a state of going towards death. The only thing that stops it is it started the process attached to life support, whereas the person didn't. That's it. But the fetus is always
in all my scientific errors. One thing you have continued to demonstrate over and over again with what is that the life support, removing it is not initiating the death. Even in your clarification that you have a bodily function that is no longer working, so then life support is added to maintain that function. The death is not initiated by the removing of the life support. If someone's body malfunctioned, they were on their way to death. That's why the life support was
pulling
added.
The plug on a fetus would not. First of all,
would lead to their death.
First of all, I'm not trying to make the assertion that pulling the plug is an initiation of death. I'm trying to point out the hypocrisy of you claiming that it isn't, but claiming that abortion, in which it is the case that all we do is cut the supply off from the fetus and the mother, that would be an initiation. And you have not been able to substantiate that past, saying, well, because the fetus was born, because the fetus came to be in a, first of all, it actually didn't, because if you're looking at the way like an egg works, like it had to develop to a point that the fucking umbilical cord connects. The umbilical cord doesn't just show up there, right? The umbilical cord isn't there initially. The fetus is always on a path to death. The only thing stopping it is the fact that it is connected to a life support system, which would be, in this case, a biological one. You have not demonstrated why there is a symmetry break here, except by consistently reiterating your own claim, which we know of the claim. You're saying it's not life support because what if the fetus was, sure, what if, like, let's make an assumption. What if you have somebody who's born, a fetus who's born, who is a baby who's born, sure, and that baby is connected to the mother's umbilical cord still and has no way, and science has no way to keep it alive if they disconnect it. It's going to die. It has some sort of it did not develop homeostasis enough, so it's out of the womb, but still connected to the mom's umbilical cord, so it's still getting the nutrients from her body, it's still getting the oxygen from her body, but there's no way for any doctor or anything to keep it alive once we cut that cord. Now, if we cut the cord, are we killing it?
Wait, I might have missed a step in your analogy. You're saying it's medically necessary to cut the cord?
Well, we can't just leave it connected to its mother for her entire life.
Your analogy has me a little bit confused.
What's confusing? I'll restate it.
Yeah, restate it for me, please. Thank you.
So this is a hypothetical. What if somebody is born before we cut the umbilical cord? Doctors realize that if we do, this fetus will die because it cannot maintain its life processes on its own. And science is not at a place in this society that the scientists can do it either. They have no way to do it. So one of two things happens. Either they cut the cord and the fetus dies, or they don't cut the cord and the mother stays connected to the fetus for all of their natural lives. If the scientists cut the cord and then that that baby dies because it cannot maintain its own life processes, okay, did they initiate the killing?
No, and so this is why. Because the fetus is not. Well,
wait, hold on. So it's just location. It's just location. You're just going to say it's location.
What?
You're just going to say it's location based now, which is completely arbitrary.
It's not mere Wait, no. So since you're giving this particular example, that is not the case with the majority of abortions.
I know that's not the case. This was a hypothetical to test your logic. Yes. So obviously it's not the case with most abortions. I would say it's probably not the case with like any abortions. We're testing your logic.
I'm just trying to respond to. Yeah, I'm going to respond to it, but you have to let me do that. And it's not just mere location. That has something to do with it, but that's not the bear of what I was going to say. But in this conversation, you seem to not want to.
Well, because no matter what you say here, the answer ends with location. Nothing else you say matters. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that it is no longer inside the person who was pregnant, right? When it's outside, then you can kill it. And it's not considered murder to you. When it's inside, you can't kill it because it'll be considered murder. It's literally the only distinction here.
No, the distinction is what initiated the death.
Was the doctors pulling the plug?
No, that is not what initiated. We already agreed that something happened to the person that caused them to have to be on life support. So whatever that thing was is what initiated the death. So in the example that you just gave, something happened within within the child's natural environment. Something happened to it that prevents it from doing whatever. Some type of event happens beyond, outside of removing the baby.
Yeah, that happens. That happens in the conception of the fetus too. The thing that initiates the fetus's inability to maintain its life processes is conception. There's also so if you're just saying, hey, as long as there is an X point that initiates the body's inability to care for itself, well, that's conception, friend.
If I take you, like you're just a random dude walking down the street, and then I throw you in a room with no air in it, and then you die, what initiated your death?
You putting me in the room with no air in it.
Okay. With the example with life support.
was there a second thing to that? Is that going anywhere or?
Well, yeah, as you've already, I was about to, but then you just continued to interrupt.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't wait long enough in between your exasperated sigh and you saying something else. My apologies.
No, right when I said life support, you started laughing and interrupting. So it wasn't the sigh. But anyway, I'll continue with what I was about to say. So in the example with life support, if something happens to someone's lungs, whatever, some type of event or something goes awry with someone's lungs, and then you add life support, that is not the same as just putting them in a room, someone who was fine, whose lungs were functioning perfectly.
No, pulling them off the life support.
Hold, let me finish, brother.
Pulling them off the life support is what would be the same.
Hold on. I don't know what you said, and I lost my train of thought.
Your train of thought didn't matter because the whole conceit of this is pulling them off the life support kills them. When they are on the life support, they are alive. When they come off the life support, they die.
The fetus is not dying in the womb, even if they're dependent on something else for life. We are all dependent on something else for life. My body does not function independently. Every single person that exists is dependent.
Are you claiming that?
Contingent on something else. Hold on, let me finish, brother. Let me finish. We're all dependent on something else. Removing someone from life support is what is starting their death to begin. A fetus is not dying before in your hypothetical or in what you're trying to say. A fetus is not dying in the womb. It's being nurtured. That's why I use that word.
If something has already started the dying process and you do something to speed that process up, you're not killing that person. It's the thing that started the dying process.
What do you mean speed it up?
Sure. Let's say somebody has cancer. Let's say somebody has cancer and they're dying. Their body is currently dying, and I now inject them with super cancer. They already have cancer, so they're already dying. But I've injected them with super cancer, so they die like 2 years earlier. Did I initiate their death?
No, I don't think they were already dying, but you have acted with an intent to kill them.
Doesn't matter. I didn't murder them.
Different categories. You keep setting up these different categories and then
so wait. I just want to confirm. So I would not be a murderer in that case. I just want to confirm. I'm not a murderer in that case.
No, if you add, yeah, you are a murderer in that case.
No, I'm not. I didn't initiate their death.
You didn't.
You already said that I did not initiate their death. You already said that. You said I didn't initiate their death. I don't know why you're going any further.
Let me finish. I think you understand that you're caught up, so you have to keep jumping to these categories. But let me finish talking real quick.
Nobody's jumping.
I was using the initiating the death within the fields that we were talking about with life support.
Oh, so we're just special pleading.
The difference.
Okay.
No,
right. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Thank you for admitting your special pleading.
You can't let my argument get out, and that is evidence.
Thank you for admitting. Well, you just admitted your argument is a special plea. Why do I need to let it get out? You quite literally just admitted your argument was a special plead. You just admitted it. You said, my argument only matters when we're talking. My logic doesn't need to be consistent amongst my worldview. It only needs to matter on this specific circumstance, meaning that you're special pleading. That is the definition of special pleading. So why do I need to consistently hear your argument if you're special pleading?
The current debate that we were having was about, is someone on life support analogous to the baby in the womb? That's
no, that wasn't the debate we were having, actually.
Hold on.
That's not actually the debate we were having.
Discussion,
so now you're not following the conversation.
No, again, I don't even know what you're saying, because
I said that was not the conversation that we were having.
What was the conversation we were having?
Whether or not pulling somebody's life support is initiating their death. Whether or not you...
Thank you. That's what I just said.
No, it's not. You said the argument is about, is a fetus analogous to life support? That's not the argument. The argument is on. I don't care how we got to an argument. We're talking about what is the argument. How we got to the argument is irrelevant.
You were comparing the logic of removing the baby from the womb and just letting it die. You're removing someone from life support.
No.
Let me finish, brother.
Unfortunately not. The conceit of the whole conversation is to determine what is or is not murder.
Yeah, no,
that's the conceit of the whole conversation.
You need to let me.
I'm sorry. Do you think you hold power here? Do you think you hold power here? I just want to make sure. Do you think you hold some level of power here that you're going to tell me what you're going to do? Unfortunately not. That's not how this works.
No, but
I just need you to know. I just need you to know that that's not how this works. I just need you to know that's not how this works. So if the conversation, again, I don't know if you think that you have the control of the conversation.
When you put me on mute, you're going to talk and say your position.
I don't know if what you think is happening here.
It's no longer a debate, which is the whole point of the channel.
I don't know what you think is happening here.
Yeah. You can let me finish. You can let me finish. I wasn't going to go for long with.
Aw, sad. Aw, that's sad. Anyway, the whole conceit of the argument, the entire conceit of the argument, Okay, so I'll just, do I just need to say it? Sure, I'll say it to chat specifically. Yeah, you're on mute. I'm just going to talk to chat. So chat, he can hear me. I can't hear him. The entire conceit of the argument is if we're talking about murder, we're talking about what is or is not intentional killings. I'm making the claim that if pulling the plug on a brain dead person is not intentional killing, neither is a fetus. He then made an assertion of the reason why it is intentional killing in the fetus. So now, knowing his assertion and knowing his why, now I'm testing his logic on the why. The why is because the brain dead person had already initiated the death process. This is his why. He hung up. The brain dead person is initiating the death process. This is the why. So now we're testing the logic on the why. And the way I tested that logic is to say, well, what if I have somebody who's dying of cancer? So they have already initiated the death process. They are going to die 100%. And I inject them with like some super cancer that kills them 2 years earlier. Did I initiate their death process? He heard that and already said, no, you did not. To which my response is, then it's not a murder, because you claim murder has to be when somebody initiates the death process. To which he then responded, well, no, but it is murder because of blah, 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 blah. He didn't like his logic getting tested. And because of this, he crashed out. Simple. Super simple. People in chat are like, that's not the same argument. Holy shit, dumb fucks. Yeah, it is. Fucking idiots. My God, chat, YouTube chat. Thank you guys for watching. And shout out to my YouTube members. Their names appear on the side. Membership starts at $2.99 and gets you access to early videos, uncensored videos, and members-only content. Also, shout out to Tier 4 members Blaze and Yemye. Tier 4 members get to help choose debate topics, and their contributions go a long way to helping me create higher quality content for all of you. Remember to subscribe for your daily dose of leftist debates, and I'll see you in the next video.